Hello there, this is GameOrNought, and today we are checking out what's in the box of Catan on the Road. Huge thanks to Asmodee for sending over a copy for us to take a look at. Before we do see what's inside, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, follow, whatever it is that you have to do to keep in touch with all things GameOrNought. This is the new travel version of Catan. It is a card-based game rather than a board and tile and pieces. It plays in about 15 minutes, which is definitely true once you know what you're doing. So let's see what's in the box. Starting off with the little introduction and rules and setup pamphlet. It's not a rule book because it's not as heavy as all of that, but it is a very thorough and well-written introduction and instruction pamphlet. It tells you what you've got, it tells you what the rules are, it helps you with the initial setup, and it guides you through all the different actions and what everything does and how they interact with each other. And it's very good, very thorough. It does what it needs to do. Then you have cards which represent each of the resources in the game. If you've played Catan before, you'll recognize them. If you haven't, you've got wood, you've got bricks, or wheat, and wool. And these are the resources you use to buy things for your settlement. Catan on the Road also comes with these quick handy reference guides for each player, which I love. I always love when a game includes these quick reference guides. It just makes it so much easier to play with people. It shows you quickly what the build costs are for each improvement, as well as what you do on your turn and how you win, which is having 7 victory points in front of you during your turn. Everyone starts with one settlement right at the beginning of the game. One person is chosen at random to be the starting player. But then you can also add extra settlements to your settlement, I suppose. And that costs you certain resources. It's there on the card. But also, once you buy a settlement, you can immediately draw from the event card deck, which may or may not have positive effects for you and the other players around you. It wouldn't be a Catan game if you couldn't build roads. So there you are, you can build roads. Everyone starts with 1 road, and you can build more as you go through the game, up to 4 really, unless you want to get more roads than somebody else. And roads allow you to use different resources in place of another one. So for example, when you start with 1 road, you can use 4 of one resource to represent another resource, so 4 bricks to represent 1 wood, for example. But once you build 4 roads, you can do a 1-to-1 exchange, which is obviously going to really power your building. With cities, you can upgrade your settlements. They're worth 2 victory points over the 1 that you get for a settlement. They also have the added benefit of, on your turn, you get to draw an extra resource card, so that's really useful. You can upgrade your cities even further by building a metropolis. These are worth 3 victory points. On your turn, you can draw 2 extra resources, so incredibly useful. But also, the metropolis cards are double-sided. So the A side is always the same, but the B side, each metropolis has a slightly different effect or a slightly different boon for you. It's recommended to play the A side until you're really confident with the game, and then you play with the B sides to add that little bit of extra replayability and variability. Then you also have the Knight cards. These are really useful cards, partly because they work towards one of the other big victory point scorers, but also because they protect you from robbers. So if robbers turn up out of the event deck, you have to discard half of your cards. If you have more than 7 cards in your hand, every knight that you have basically protects an additional card. So very useful. Talking of the robber and the event deck, here's the robber card in the event deck. Each player with more than 7 resource cards must discard half rounded down. So when that turns up, it really can completely reshape the game, reshape plans. All of a sudden, you've got to discard half of your cards, and so you have to rethink your plan for the next turn. And there's 3 of those in the event deck, so they are going to come up, so you do need to plan for them. There's also the charity card, which is the player with the most VPs gives 1 resource to a player with fewer VPs. So if you are currently in the lead, it may be that you end up having to give up a resource. A subsidy, each player gets an extra resource per uncovered settlement. So if you haven't built up your settlement to cities or metropolis, you get an extra resource. Abundance, each player except those with the longest route or largest army get 2 extra resource cards. And Solstice, each player gets an extra resource card, and then you shuffle all the event cards. So that one kind of gets everything back into play. Then there are 2 special cards which are only about scoring victory points. The longest route, the first player with 3 roads receives this card. If another player has more roads, they receive this card. So it's a way of scoring 2 victory points is by having more roads. Roads give you that benefit of being able to exchange resources for other ones, but also you can score 2 victory points having the longest road. And the same goes for the largest army. The first player to build 2 knights receives this card. If another player has more knights, they receive this card. So it can swap between players as the game goes on. And there you have it. That is what's in the box of Catan on the road. It's not got a ton in the box, but it doesn't need a ton in the box. The cards all work really well, and you get that brilliant Catan experience in about 15 minutes once you really know what you're doing. It can take slightly longer when you're initially getting used to the game. There will be a full review going up on GameOrNought, so keep an eye out for that. But until next time, goodbye.